top of my heat. Got a little loose coming out of 3. Got it all beat up and straightened out. The boys tell me that we're ready to run now. That's a damn good thing, 'cause that green flag's waving and I'm on the gas. I put my sweat and blood to these nuts and bolts. Yeah, I turn a wrench. It's the only way I can afford to fill it up again, tear it up again. It's the only way I'm ever gonna learn. One more left turn.
Welcome everybody once again to Inside Line, episode 5 of our brand new podcast with the Dirt Crowd Promotions team. I'm Ryan Kumpf, one of your hosts, along with, of course, as always, Rob Marsh and Scott Angel, as they're hanging out with us here. First episode of 2023, guys. How was your New Year's?
I had a blast, guys. I was in, we were driving home from Florida, and we took a little family vacation to Florida. So it was a great New Year's time for me, and kids running around the ocean, visited the Kennedy Space Center. So we had a blast. Great weather down there, and it wasn't too bad back here, I heard. But I guess we're ready to start the new year. We got a lot of energy now, so ready to go.
Yeah. So you were in Florida, Rob, and I was announcing a demolition derby in Kearney for Reckless Promotions and Logan and his family. Great time out there. Friday we went out there, and then Saturday, Sunday show. It was pretty good. Saturday night they ended up in the last feature of the night. They actually broke the wall with derby cars. They were hitting so hard. So pretty cool deal. But great way again. Like you said, a lot of energy going into 2023. So a lot of excitement and a lot of things to be thankful for and excited for, I think. How about you, Ryan?
Oh, same old. It's a little different these days with twins. We don't get out very much anymore, so it's a little different than even a year ago for New Year's, I'll say that. But no, it's excited to get ready for 2023. Can you believe there's already racing going on tonight? We're going to be talking about that a little bit later, but 2023 race season is already underway. We had a lot of great racing this past weekend with the Nebraska Kart Shootout. We'll be talking with one of the main winners from the weekend there. Kind of a quick rundown of the night. We'll be talking with Knox Bivens about his big weekend at the Nebraska Karting Shootout. We've got 4 technically racetracks for the Stock Car Crown Summer Series we're going to be talking about tonight. 3 great promoters, of course, Bobby Lincoln, the promoter at both the US 30 Speedway and Dawson County Raceway. We'll be talking to him first. But our first question, of course, our shotcockery question of the week: what is the most important souvenir for any race fan or race? What is your must-have souvenir that you would like to pick up at a racetrack? Now, this is a fully interactive show. Go ahead and comment below in the comment section on your answer, and we'll go ahead and air those throughout the program. So once again, what is the most important souvenir for any race fan or race? So we'll go ahead and get things kicked off tonight with our first of 3 promoters that we're going to be talking to. Bobby Lincoln, of course, he is the promoter at both the US 30 Speedway and Dawson County Raceway. Bobby has done a lot of great things for the racing, not only just as a promoter, but over the years, whether it be safety crew, and also US 30 Speedway has always been in the Lincoln family. So Bobby's been working at that racetrack since his dad promoted it way back when. So Bobby, you've got a lot of experience bringing to the table here in Eastern Nebraska. How are things shaping up for 2023?
Oh, we're setting up for a really great year. Everything is going good. We're finally getting some moisture. Man, it's been dry. We've been trying to do some dirt work and stuff, and you just can't get it done because it's just so dry.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about one of the things I look forward to every year, it seems, with US 30 Speedway especially. Every year, you're always trying to upgrade somewhere. Like, of course, over the years, a lot of dirt work to the racetrack, new barriers to the outside wall. This past year, the big grandstands going into Turn 1. Any new things coming to US 30 Speedway for this upcoming season?
Well, I ain't going to let the cat out of the bag, but I will say that one of your next guests is probably going to like what I'm doing.
Oh.
That's awesome, Bobby. We love to hear that.
I like the tease. Yes.
You got tough trucks coming, don't you, Bobby?
We got tough trucks coming back. Yes, we do. That's something that,
Yeah.
if you haven't been around for about 20 years, they were quite the staple, and we got quite a few of the old guys coming back.
What is it?
I've been
Is
talking
Dan?
about tough trucks for years that they needed to come back. I grew up going to Columbus on a weekly night, and at intermission, the tough trucks were just as entertaining as the actual racing.
Bobby, didn't you have?
Yes, it's. Go ahead.
Didn't you have Dan Alt that came out of a tough truck and then he raced the car for a while? Is he maybe one of those guys that's going to come back?
I've been talking to him. He's one of the insurance agents around Columbus now. So I've been kind of trying to drop a bug in his ear that he ironically, just like 2 years ago, he finally sold the truck. And I said, well, that's good because you just need to build a new one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's going to be so cool. But like Ryan said, that was one of the things as a kid growing up. Definitely a staple during intermission. So excited to see that. And you guys are going to have a UTV class, I think, in that too, aren't you?
Yep. We're going to do basically 3 classes. We're going to do stock, which is completely stock. Yes, they can modify, the safety aspect, to put a roll bar around them, seat, racing seat, whatnot. I don't consider that as altering. And then we're going to have, the open class with, I don't know if you remember back in the Dan Alt, the Mike Ganskows and stuff, they were sliding engine backs. They were scaling them. So when they would hit the big jumps, they would land softly and whatnot. That's the open class. And then we're going to do a side-by-side class. Yes.
I look for that class to be pretty big up in your area with the river right down there and things like that. There's UTVs all around up there. So that should be cool.
To do it right, it's got to be somewhere about a 20 to 25 second course. And of course, you got to have the big jump on the end.
Yes, sir.
Bobby, talk about some of the big dates we'll start it with US 30 Speedway and then finish up with Dawson County Raceway out in Lexington since you're the promoter at both. Talk about some of the highlights of the schedule. Obviously, the end of the year race with the Abe Lincoln Memorial is always such a fun time to end the season. You always get a huge car count for that. Of course, we'll have the Stock Car Crown Summer Series race here in the month of July. But talk about some of the nights you're going to be looking forward to and the fans need to get out and support.
Oh, absolutely. Our weekly show is, I was sitting here going through stuff here just 2 days ago. Your hobby stock national point champion, Dylan Richards, ran here for half the season. Your stock car national champion, Mr. Mike Nichols, ran here most of the season. Yes, the sport mod, Luke coming out of Iowa, he did not run here. Sorry, we got 8 dogs in the house.
You can't find Bobby without the dogs. It's okay.
Right. Well, and the thing is, you look right here. I got one laying right beside me. And awesome. And then you got 4-time track or national champion Corey Dumper. And it's some of the most intense racing you're going to find in the Midwest.
I guess, Bobby, that's what I've always thought. What we got, we're talking a 3rd-mile racetrack, but it's sweeping corners. It races really fast, and I just think it's awesome. Obviously, everybody knows around here that you race on Thursday nights, but to everybody, all of our viewers in Iowa, Kansas, the Dakotas, you're a Thursday night track, but you do a great job. Your stands are full almost every Thursday. And it's because of the action you have on the track. So I've always loved coming up and watching races up there.
Yeah, the racetrack itself is 105 foot wide. It is, like you said, it's progressively banked 3rd mile. It's not a high bank, but it's a progressive bank. So, they can get up on the very top. And you could see 4, 5, and we've even seen 6 wide racing action.
It's something that's amazing.
That's almost weekly.
Yeah, and it's in every class, Bobby.
Yes.
So,
And
But
yeah,
going
I'm
back
going
to
to
the
tell you,
schedule, we got 3 nights of the Race Saver 305 sprints. We have late models and modifieds that are going to interchange with each other on different nights. We're working on a bunch of things. We're going to have a great summer.
Let's shift gears and talk about Dawson County Raceway a little bit. Last year was your first year of having, I thought, an unimaginable task trying to promote 2 racetracks, and they're, over 2 hours apart from each other, roughly. So you're literally at the
2.5
racetrack
hours.
probably 6-7 days a week. I mean, the amount of work you guys put in last year. What are some of the things that you learned in your first year that maybe you'll make some adjustments coming into this year? Maybe in the long run, has it helped you as a promoter getting the grasp of a different area and a different racetrack?
Yes, it has helped a lot. And one of the biggest things, and I'm going to say that I'm guilty of, I did not realize how many fantastic racers were in Western Nebraska. The quality of drivers, the cars, the fans are just phenomenal out there. Ryan, I know you worked for me out there last summer. That crowd is probably one of the most electric crowd you're ever going to find.
Yeah, absolutely. They're, especially the hobby stocks, they get into it. And the thing that I always tell people that's pretty impressive is they're into the show, but you also don't sell alcohol there. So it's not like it's a rowdy fandom because of alcohol sales or anything. They have their favorites and maybe some guys that they don't necessarily like. And either way, they'll let you know about it.
Oh, yes. Like I said, they're very electric, very vocal. I mean, when a local, they come 3-4 wide down the front straightaway for the checkered. Sometimes you wonder if them stands ain't going to fall down. They're just so up and electrical.
Absolutely. Of course, we've got the Stock Car Crown Summer Series there Sunday, June 11th. That was a great race last year. I think Kyle Vanover picked up the win. You guys had, over 50 cars, Scott? Was that? Or it was in the upper 40s, not?
I was 40. It was right at 40 for the stock cars that night. Casey Woken raced and chased and anything he could do with Kyle and didn't quite have enough. The yellow came out just the right time for Kyle on that deal, but Bobby and the crew did a fantastic job reworking the racetrack that night. And we've seen great racing there all year, whether it's the stock cars or the sport mods, Brandon Spanger and some of those guys from back to the Lincoln area, making the trek out there every Sunday night that they could. So that says something about Bobby and you and your crew out there as well. To have those guys spend 2, 3, 4 hours on the road to just go race on a Sunday night. So always look for great racing in Dawson County, and Chad and his crew, Chad Dolan before you, Bobby, really kind of got it set up and going, and you haven't really missed a lick, I don't think.
Really one of the only major things we're going to change this year is we're starting at 5 o'clock this year, not 6 o'clock. Try to help them get home that hour earlier. If everything goes right, we want to be out of there by 8 o'clock at night, letting the Spaniards as guys come from the Lincoln Beatrice. We had, Taylor out there, give them that extra hour to get home,
Hey, Bobby, are you excited to announce you got a name for our Stock Car Crown Summer Series on June 11th this year? What do you got going with that?
It is now the Randy Ward Memorial. Again, Randy was one of those guys from Western Nebraska that just absolutely set Western Nebraska on fire in his racing days. He was probably one of the nicest guys I met. Unfortunately, I didn't get to know him that well because, I only got to see him about 2/3 of the season this year, before his untimely passing. But, man, what a super guy, what a super family. He just very, very deeply missed out there.
I think a fitting name for a great race that we're going to have out there, Bobby. That's really great that you've got them involved. And I guess we're honored to be a part of that out there with you for the Randy Ward Memorial this year.
Yes, and then we also hear just literally 2 days ago, We got the Dale and Donna Holbein Memorial coming up August 13th, which is another. It's $1,970 to win the modifieds and stock cars.
Wow.
Dale Holbein was the actual guy who actually built the Dawson County Raceway out there, and he ran it for the first 15 years. His son Dallas is the assistant fire chief there in Lexington, and we want to do everything we can, to memorialize his mother and father. The 13th of August.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been to a race, you don't have to say in western Nebraska. If you've been to a race within 600 miles of that area, you've probably seen Dallas around. Dallas and his family are great folks and huge supporters of the racing community. So that's awesome to see that, Bobby. Dallas has definitely lived on what his father had started, and so I love to see that the Holbeins are getting recognized out there as well. That's awesome.
Yep, we're excited to go back there. Like I said, Chad had everything in great order out there, and we're not going to make a whole lot of changes. We're going to back up to 5:00 and start. Pretty much everything else is going to stay the same. We're excited to go back out there. We enjoy it. We love all the people out there. They're great to work with. Most fair boards, you hear horror stories, and I'm not going to say all of them because, the one northwest of me that Ryan works for is another great one. But, you talk to other promoters and whatnot, and they tell you horror stories with the fair board, but the one out there at Dawson County is just second to none. They love their racing, and we enjoy them.
Absolutely. Bobby, before we head out, how should people follow both US 30 Speedway and Dawson County Raceway if they want to see the latest information from you guys here for the upcoming season?
Best way to do that on both of them is Facebook, Dawson County Raceway. We're only the best, go 3 abreast, and US 30 Speedway.
Awesome.
Bobby,
Appreciate
before
it,
you
Bobby.
go,
We'll look forward to you.
Ryan, before he goes, he's got to answer our question of the week. Bobby's been around long enough.
Okay, but Bobby has something he wants to say that he's never told anybody else yet. We're going to have breaking news here.
Well, let's break it.
Ready? Let's break it. How many people would love to race their car around US 30 Speedway one lap? Everybody this summer the chance. Two cars, grudge match, so to speak. One lap. We may set it up as a bracket style. We may let, Ryan go against, call Scott Angel out or Robbie Marsh out, whatnot. There's
my
only
pickup's a little top heavy for that, I think. I don't think it's going to work very well.
You're just going to have to slow down.
I don't think I can loosen it up enough.
But we've talked with the insurance and everything, and there's only just a few rules that you have to abide by, and I laughed because the first one kind of threw me for a loop, but the very first number one rule is you have to have the title to your vehicle on you. 2 reasons. Number one, that way it doesn't have a banknote against it in case you do crash it. And number 2, to make sure that Robbie's not driving Scott Angel's car without his knowledge.
Dan Taylor wants to know if he can drive his Tesla. Are electric vehicles allowed in this competition?
Absolutely. I'm hoping to talk to Dan here shortly, because I do have a position open for an announcer, and I'm hoping that he will sit down and talk with me. But I haven't asked him yet. But nope. So we're going to give the people in town a chance to, just throw a helmet and your seatbelt on. And like I said, the other rule is they have to have the side windows rolled down, and they have to have the title in their hand. And you're going to get to race your street vehicle one lap around US 30 Speedway. Throw a couple transponders on them so you can go quick time and everything. But
I've seen this before.
Yeah,
I've seen this Bobby before, and it is some of the craziest races I've ever seen, I think. And
exactly.
so this is going to be exciting. Is it every Thursday night or just a few here and there?
We're gonna go here and there to start with and see how many cars we get, but we're gonna do it after the races so our racers can actually go home.
Yeah.
Again, those that have to travel, and because
That's
you want the
awesome.
track dry slick anyway. So
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, appreciate the time here tonight. Once again, follow US 30 Speedway and Dawson County Raceway on Facebook. We look forward to getting out to the racetrack in Columbus and Lexington this summer. Have a good rest of your evening, Bobby.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bobby.
So once again, Bobby Lincoln with US 30 Speedway and Dawson County Raceway. Interview number 2. He's one of the young up-and-coming studs in the sports. He had a big weekend this past weekend at the Nebraska Kart Shootout. That's Knox Bivens. And, of course, the Bivens name pretty familiar with Eastern Nebraska, to say the least. Of course, Scott's been a long time a modified driver. But Knox behind the wheel, he's got his cart behind him there, I believe. Knox, you had a big weekend this past weekend. Talk about your success at the Nebraska Kart Shootout.
I felt pretty fast. The track was really, really rough, but I mean, we got through it. We won most of our races, and we won, 2 of the main features, and then we had the extra shootout where we qualified for it on the day before the actual race, and I qualified pole, so I had the best starting position. And then I started first, led the whole race, was 30 laps, and I won it, so I got the prize and felt fast. I mean, yeah, it was pretty bumpy though.
So Knox, when you raced the Turkey Chase, you had a pretty good weekend in November there. You knew they were going to have the shootout in January, or the end of the year there. Was the main shootout where you had to qualify and run the 20 laps or 30 laps? Was that your main goal to win, or did you just focus on each race as they come to you?
I kind of focused on trying not to let people get past me in the shootout, so because if they would, it'd be hard to pass them back because, since the track was so rough, everyone was let off and they try to get to the bottom, so it wouldn't be very easy to pass people because you can't really run the top at that track. So, I mean, if you do, you're going to spin out.
So as a driver, you're only 11? Is that how old you are? Not 11 now.
Yeah.
So 11 years old, and you're wheeling this cart around the inside of the Lancaster Event Center. The track is a little bit different than what you're used to indoors, and especially what you're used to outdoors. What did you have to do as a driver or with your cart to make it work better for you during the weekend?
I kind of had to think about how I was going to have to drive it differently because this isn't like a full-time summer track, so I don't have as much experience on it, but this is probably my best track I've raced at because these are most of my wins that I've got at the track. But it's different than outdoor, so.
So did you have to set your cart up different, or did you drive the cart different, or what did you do there?
Well, we mainly just had to set the car up different because, I mean, the track's shorter or long. It could be shorter or longer, and you need to fix the gear and the tire pressure because it doesn't have to be the same, which it probably wouldn't be at a different track.
That's
Hey,
cool.
Knox, your dad was a great driver. He still is a great driver. I loved watching him for years. What's the relationship you have with him? Do you let him have a lot of input on setting the car up, or do you make him do the dirty work, or what does he get to do for you?
Well, he kind of I tell him sometimes what to do. He asks me if I wanted to do it, but sometimes I say no, and like how I win. Sometimes he gives me advice, but I don't listen to him, and I get out front and I just
Well, that's all right. He's got a lot of experience, but you're learning a lot too. And I bet the two of you together can really work on getting the right setup and getting things figured out through the night. So I bet you're really happy to have Dad along, though, helping you, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Knox, what's your plans for the future? Obviously, you're going to be in the kart for a few years, but do you have a goal for the future when you get old enough, going to maybe a big car at some point?
I don't know. I probably just try to start pretty farther up in the field than most of the fast people and try to hold them off. But I don't want to be dirty, so try not to wreck them.
Knox, do you want to go big car racing one day?
Yeah.
In a sprint car or modified? Modified. Okay.
Speaking of modified, talk about we have Sean Hyatt in on the podcast watching, and talk about the look for your kart. That's a pretty cool throwback for one of Shane's cars, is it not?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it looks pretty accurate, and I like it, so.
No, that's awesome. I'm sure he's glad to see it in Victory Lane for sure. Talk about maybe your upcoming season before we let you go. What's your plans for next year?
Just try to be one of the fastest karts, try to get out front and try to win the features and, win.
Who's your sponsors you need to thank on your kart, Knox?
Red Door Realty, Mook Trucking, Grandma and Grandpa, Dad, Rage Midwest, the neighbors, Dad Bornemeyer Trucking, Woodland Hills Golf Course, 5-Star Frameworks, Easton Racing, Shane Hyatt Racing, the Creers, I think is how you say it, Bailey's Local, BMF, Designs, ONYX Digital, Middle Creek Services, Uncle Frank Engines, and Dirt Houses.
That's awesome. Ryan, you got to ask him the question of the week. Knox is he's an avid race fan.
I do, especially since you're at the age where you probably go to the racetrack and beg Dad to get you some swag, some T-shirts, some die-casts maybe. What is your most important souvenir for you as a race fan at a race? What's the one thing that you really want to buy when you go to a racetrack?
Probably if one of my favorite drivers has merch there, I'd probably get one of those, like at a sprint car 410 race or a late model race. So,
T-shirt.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Good job on the interview, buddy. You did a great job tonight. Great job last weekend racing, and good luck this coming year. Make sure you get your schoolwork done, and we'll see you at the racetrack next year.
All right, see ya.
Thanks, Knox.
See you later.
All right, Knox Bivens, of course, the Bivens name, Scott's had a lot of wins over the years, whether it's been a modified or sport mod, but that is Knox Bivens, of course, a big weekend last week with 3 wins at the Nebraska Kart Shootout. Scott, you're kind of our karting expert. Talk about the Nebraska Kart Shootout for just a second. Just that race, especially coming off of the Turkey Chase just a week or two ago. There's a lot of big karting events in eastern Nebraska to end the season.
Yeah, it's cool. They put on 2 events there indoors. Totally different group of people that promote it. The Kart Shootout is definitely more of a flat kart show, but you bring in some of the best flat kart racers from around, and it's cool to see how competitive the flat kart world it really is. They bring in that Max's Shootout where the guys, again, like Knox was talking, they time trial in, and then you have to be in certain position to even get in that race in the time trials. And then Knox's race was 30 laps. The other guys' races, there's some that were 20, some of them were 50, and they would take a break at halfway and not really able to adjust the carts. But it's gives the guys a little bit of a break if they got fuel they can. It's super cool to see. We've seen Corey Dumpert in those before. Obviously, Caleb Woodard, some of those kids in there. Now Knox in there. His little sister Maven actually got the shootout win as well. So pretty cool to see both those kids doing good. Shows that maybe the youth of racing is going to be good. And events like that, if we can continue to support them, will continue to grow, and those karters will then turn into hopefully one day big kart racers. So we need to start someplace.
Absolutely. Next guest here tonight, we're going to head south to the state of Kansas. We've got Drew with the Belleville High Banks. Of course, that is going to be a show, a can't miss show, I'm going to say, at the Belleville High Banks coming up on Monday, July the 3rd. What a way to kick off, wrap up the 4th of July weekend with a 3,000 to win, 300 to start show. And guys, this is a racetrack I've always had on my bucket list. I've never been able to, I've driven through Belleville. I've never actually gone out to see the racetrack, but I'm really looking forward to seeing, especially on the small track, those stock cars run around there.
Yeah, we're
Ryan,
excited.
Drew, go ahead, Drew.
Ryan, I can't believe you've never been to Belleville.
I've been to Belleville. I've not been to Belleville's racetrack.
Oh man, the racing there
horrible.
is awesome.
That's embarrassing.
I have it on my calendar this year. If I can sneak away for the weekend, that might be one of the weekends I get down there for sure.
Drew, I'm sorry we hang out with such low life like Ryan.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, we got a lot of races this year, so you got to make it down. Bring your friends. We got an ambitious schedule. Our group of guys that run the track down here, we had kind of talked about maybe scaling back a little bit for 2023. And now I think they're all pretty upset with me. We're getting ready to release our schedule here in the next couple of days. We're trying to iron out a couple support classes that we're working on, and then we'll be hitting letting everybody see the schedule here soon. And it's bigger than it's been in a long time, so it'll be interesting.
It's always great to see good racing there. And last year the reconfiguration, it seemed like, of the small track kind of rejuvenated what we've seen with the late model class down there. Ryan's got some video right there, but the big track with so many memories, whether it was midgets or sprint cars or late models, modifieds, as one for me growing up. Belleville is always a place that you wanted to be, and so seeing this little track get some energy now is going to be really fun. And I think our stock cars are going to put on a great show there, Drew.
Yeah, no, I think they will. We spent a lot of time working on that track with Mike Van Gendren and Ron Hunchesky, our dirt guru here at Belleville, who's been doing it forever. Ron started kind of working on the track here 2 years ago, and then we did a lot of dirt work here over the spring. And then when XR came to town, we did some more, and we've got more plans to try to widen it out, maybe add some more banking, and work on the shape of the backstretch a little bit. It kind of D's now, and we're trying to maybe straighten that out a little bit more. And we've got some projects going on as soon as the weather gets better, with some lighting upgrades, I guess how you could say. And so hopefully it'll make the track racier. We'll have USAC midgets on it there in May. And so hopefully we'll get it rolled in strong and have it shaped right, and should be primed for the time the stock cars come to town.
Drew, talk about just the decision of actually really investing in the short track, because, I mean, Belleville is mainly known, obviously, for the big half mile, and just anymore it seems like a lot of racetracks are going away from half mile racing. Is that something that you were kind of thinking as just economically it was something that made more sense for you, trying to upkeep the racetrack, different things like that, or trying to make for a better show race-wise? What went into the thought process of really investing in the small track?
Well, there was a couple different things. We've been talking about it since our new board came into running the track. The facility hadn't been ran a lot, which is, because it's been ran by a group of volunteers forever. So coming in, we were all excited. We're saying, we need to use the facility more. And we're finding out how much work it is. But, we thought, well, we'll work on the small track a little bit and start adding some races to it. So, if we can't find a class to run the big track weekly or something like that, we're not looking to run weekly. But to get more shows, we thought, well, we'll run the quarter some. And that way we're using the facility and get more races on the schedule. And then, the XR deal kind of came around. And that's when things kind of started to change a little bit. We thought, well, we need to make this a little bit more legitimate. Worked on the track and the lighting, and we added caution lights and, some safety stuff around there for flagmen and stuff, because it's been mainly a micro or cruiser track, which has just been basically for intermission purposes for the half mile. And our focus is still the half mile, primarily. And I think it always will be. That's what we all grew up watching. That's what most people that come to Belleville come to watch, the half mile. But there's a lot of good racing that can happen on that quarter with classes of cars that, can't handle the half, or, economically, it doesn't make much sense for them to be out there and tear up equipment and stuff. So that was kind of our thinking behind it. And I think we all were hoping to see, national level midgets get back onto the track at some point, which is going to happen. And then, with those opportunities comes the dirt crown stock cars, which is, as good as it gets for stock cars around here. So I think it's a perfect match. And the more that we utilize that track, it gives us more opportunities to have events. And at the end of the day, as long as we can have quality events in Belleville, that's what we're looking for.
Hey, Drew, it was great to kind of meet up about this here so many months ago and invite Dirt Crown down for a show. I think it's going to be awesome. We're going to run a 50 lapper on that quarter mile for $3,000 to win, $300 to start. I know you're working on some sponsorship. Maybe those numbers change. Maybe we can get a long toe in there. I think it's going to be a heck of a show. So we thank you for letting us be a part of that. But are you good to talk about what might be going on in the big track that same night?
Yeah. So what our plans are and what will be released here soon, it's finalized, is we will be doing 360 sprint cars, and that'll also pay $3,000 to win, $400 to start. So far, that's just an independent show. Terry Maddox and his crew will be running some ASCS National Tour shows up there in Nebraska and Iowa, and I think they're going to come down and help us a little bit with your guys' crew and be a part of it. And then we'll also be running sport mods on the half mile, and that'll be $1,000 to win, roughly $200 to start. We're kind of working on that, but we'll be releasing that soon. And so alongside the Firecracker 50, it looks like a pretty big night, and we're real excited for July 3rd.
Well, Belleville always has awesome shows around the holidays, and I think it's going to be another one again here, a 4th of July show, the eve of 4th of July, and you got a little bit for everybody there, big track, small track. I think it's going to be awesome for our drivers. I think our drivers are going to put on a hell of a show in Belleville on that quarter mile. 50 laps. It sounds like a lot. It won't go that fast, but we've seen how racy that small track is. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. We're going to continue to work on the turns and stuff and guys entry into 3 and things to try to make it a little racier. But, with what we showed last year with SLMR and, the XR Super Series, those races were coming down the last couple laps and guys going 2-3 wide with big late models. So I don't see why the best stock car drivers in the country can't put on a great show here at our quarter.
It's going to be so exciting, and July 3rd can't come soon enough to get back to Belleville for me, I don't think.
And one of the other big races you have, Drew, of course, it's kind of become a staple in the sprint car ranks, is your 305 Nationals. You did actually come out with some of the info for next year's race. How about $7,000 to win, 30-lap feature? This is on the big track, correct?
Yes, we run that annually on the half mile. It's always the first Saturday in August. It took the place of the Belleville Midget Nationals with our inaugural race in 2018. It's been an absolutely perfect fit for us. The Race Saver 305s have put on a great show. They mesh well with the track. Very little attrition. Our car counts have been great and have been holding steady. And I think this last year we kind of got over the hump a little bit with how good the show went. We had some drama that last night. Had Steven Richardson have a little scuffle on the front stretch there right at the beginning of the race. Gets sent to the tail, comes back, wins it on the last lap. and then he's light at the scales. But it was a great race. I mean, all the way through, you had second place come down to the line also right there on the front stretch, which ended up being the winning move there. And those 305s, I mean, it's been a great fit. So we actually added another 2-day 305 event, June 9th and 10th, which will be what we're calling the King of the Crossroads. And so we'll be paying $1,000 to win Friday, June 9th, and then $2,500 to win Saturday, June 10th. So it's kind of a little practice go for the 6th annual 305 Nationals, but also a pretty big deal on its own.
Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely another one that nobody wants to miss down there. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we got that with the 305s, and then we also have the return of USAC, and we'll have the midgets on the quarter, May 19th and 20th. So we're looking forward to have the USAC national drivers back in town, even though it's not on the half, but it'll be a good fit on the quarter. That's where they need to be. And then we'll have the Silver Crown cars returning also on the half. And that, you don't see that around here very much. So it should be a can't miss event. And those cars are made for Belleville. I mean, they're two old time things that fit together, and it should be a great show.
That the Silver Crown cars are in May, Drew. Is that right?
Yeah, so they will practice May 19th. When the midgets are running on the quarter, they'll practice on the half, and then they will have the race on Saturday, May 20th on the half.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to add this, guys, and to all of our viewers, all of our tracks we work with are awesome. All the fair boards, promoters, everybody's great. I mean, we can't say enough about anybody. But I'm going to tell Ryan and Scott and everybody else, when I went down to meet with the race committee there with Drew and his guys, these guys are motivated. They really want to do big things down there at Belleville. And what an opportunity to get to see different kind of racing that we usually don't get to see. So everybody, make it to Belleville or find a way to get it on a broadcast, because it's awesome racing. And they're working their butts off to work hard to try to do something different. So, Drew, good job to you and your team. Thank you.
We all appreciate it. It's a big undertaking, but we all care about it immensely, and it's a big part it's a big part of our community, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it going.
Drew,
awesome.
With the schedule announcement coming soon, how do people follow you guys to get that information and to see what upcoming events you're going to have throughout the summer?
So you can follow us on Facebook. That's probably the most popular way, and then also we have Twitter, Instagram, and then our webpage, BellevilleHighBanks.org. We've got a great IT guy, Caden Zimmerman, who keeps us all up to date and everything. He handles all of our websites and stuff, and you can always find our information there.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Drew, for your time, and we look forward to seeing you coming up in July.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Drew. Have a good night.
You too.
Drew Erkenbrack with, of course, Belleville High Banks, as we're 3/4 of the way through our show. We've got one more guest. Boy, a jam-packed show here tonight. And we go from one state south of Nebraska to one state north of Nebraska, just across the border in South Dakota, to Lenny Tucker. Lenny, I think your mic is muted there for a second. I think I got the icon there that you're muted. But Lenny is one of the promoters with the Park Jefferson Speedway. And it's a bit of a transition season for Park Jefferson. At least they were at the end of last year. They go from, what was it, a large 3/8 or 4/10 down to, is it a 1/4 mile now, Lenny?
He's still muted, Ryan. Can you help him?
I'm clicking on mute. I can't. I think it's on his end. Once again, while he's working on his, there we go, Lenny.
There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm new at talking. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. Talk about the change in the racetrack.
Very similar to Columbus, and I'd like to thank Bobby. I know Bobby was on earlier. He came down and helped us. We put a lot of work into that track, and then we put a lot of practice on it just to make sure the track wouldn't tear up, make it rough, tear up cars. You know how that is. So Bobby and his crew came down and helped us do some officiating, taught us some stuff. And so it's about the same as Columbus. We got some progressive banking in it. And we shortened it up, and we did it just for the simple fact of Park Jefferson was always known for out-of-towners as a track that would just eat a motor. And it took everything you had to run there, be competitive. We didn't want that no more. We wanted people to come and run a good solid race with what they run at any track and be just as competitive. So that's why we did it. And it came out beautiful. Butch, Morgan and Craig Cliff and Wayne and all his crew, they did a great job. So
talk about some of the amenities that have been added and improved on there at Park Jeff. I know that the clubhouse has been redone and there's a new campgrounds and that kind of stuff going on out there, Lenny.
Yeah, so we have a full campground at the beginning of the season. We got the clubhouse. We went through and we started redoing. We also started redoing the bar again. The bar also has a hall in it, so you could can rent that out for anything you want. If you're looking to be a partner for out there, feed them there, do all that kind of stuff. So it's just all going to work good for that stuff, the campground. And then, like I said, we got concerts coming out, and we always have great racing. We've had the last year, I've even when Adam had it, I was the announcer out there, announced at Park for a long time. And man, it's just amazing the racing we get out there. We get some of the best in the business out there. And that show we did have at the end of the year, I do believe it had like 141 cars and then 111 cars because they had the 305 sprints. And then when they went away on the second day, but we still had a great turnout, a lot of cars. So I'm excited. Wayne has a great vision. Wayne also doesn't wait long. So I'm just telling you, Wayne likes to go, go, go. But for a guy with ADHD like I am, go, go, go usually means good, but it's hard keeping up with him.
Also,
Lenny, talk about the stock car scene up there. I think this is going to be a fun race going up there, pitting some of the Iowa and Nebraska guys with some of your talent in South Dakota, especially for a 3,000 to win race. That's going to be a pretty fun show.
Yeah, Ryan Harris, Travis Barger, they always put on a great show for, $350 to win or $500 to win, whatever the normal purse is at either track. And so to see them kind of come across the street and Lunenburg always tough, and they run door to door, and that's the best part about the Park Jefferson. We saw so much door to door racing this last October when we put that together. After we spent so much time, effort on it, and it was just door to door, side by side. It was a lot of fast cars, a lot of fun, and I can't wait till you put even faster stock cars, because I'm a big stock car fan. You put those bigger stock cars on there, a lot of faster stock cars and stuff. It's going to be a great race.
Sioux City is known for, I guess, excitement when it comes to the racing world, but also there's a ton of talent, and the stock car ranks are no different up there. So whether it be, maybe Cody Thompson jumping in a stock car, some of the mod guys jumping in, you mentioned Barker and Ryan Harris and some of those guys that are already up that way. You're not far from maybe some of the Minnesota cars coming over, the Northern Iowa guys coming over. So that weekend up in Jefferson, South Dakota is going to be a great weekend, I feel. Yeah,
and we get Lunenburg. We're going to get we always get Lunenburg. Sometimes we'll get the Larsons. We get a lot of great cars from up there, and we put on a lot of great racing up in that area. And that 2-day show, Greg Taylor won both nights, and it was a fight to the last minute. So the last corner, actually, it was a great race all the way through, and I can't wait to see what happens when you put all those big dogs on one surface.
And it's going to be something. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Well, I was just going to say to all our viewers, we're talking about a 2-night show. Just to remind everybody, the night before Park Jefferson on Sunday night, we will be at the newly named Interstate Speedway with Shelby and Chase. They're going to have a 2,000 to win, 200 to start. So really, 2 nights in a row, you're racing for $5,000 to win, 400 to start. How many times do we get to do that? That's pretty awesome that Park Jeff and Interstate are going to work back to back. And I know Wayne was saying that he was excited to work with Interstate and vice versa. And we'll have them on at a later date. But I just think it's awesome, Lenny, that you guys have a good relationship with the new promoters over across the street. And it's just going to be awesome to have all those cars up there for 2 different tracks. You got your campground now. you can have a great time. He was telling you about the bar and the hall there. So it's going to be a blast.
Yeah. And, I spent a lot of time at Raceway too the last 4 years, and Interstate Speedway was what it used to be called, and then it was Raceway. Now it's Interstate again, and I'm excited for that. It's just nice to see the old come back, and I'm glad to see they've already had Mike Van Grinnen out there doing some track work and prep and stuff like that. And Bobby talked about the most exciting part of racing is when the people can put their street cars on. I have rolled over a motorhome at Raceway Park, and I'm telling you, that's the most exciting racing you can get in any racing. And it's also the weirdest thing when you roll one of those things over, because having to let you guys know when the dishes hit you, it hurts.
Well, I'm sure. Talk about this schedule quick, Lenny. The two big races besides the Dirt Crown. Iron Cup is always kind of synonymous for that area at the end of the season. But tell you what, your 5,000 to win Sport Mod show has really started to gain traction here the last year or two. Talk about some of your highlights for next year. I know before Interstate was announced as returning, you guys were actually considering Sunday, but now you're back to Saturday now for the whole season.
The one thing that Wayne, and I love about Wayne, as a race car driver for years, and then also as a co-promoter with Wayne, and all the work I did over at Raceway and announcing, is Wayne cares. It's not just a one day of like go to the races and the kids go run, you watch the races and so on. No, he wants it to be family friendly and stuff like that. So when we decided to do some of these races like that $5,000 Win Sport Mod show that just put on a great show last year, that all comes into mind with him. Have to be here for $5,000 to win, and we don't care about what days it falls on and stuff like that. He wants it for the family. It's family friendly. When we were going to move to Sundays, that was the biggest part of it. Is if Raceway wasn't going to reopen, when Steve Crowley made the announcement, and I love Steve to death, great man. But when he made the announcement, we were thinking about moving to Sundays. That way you could have more time with your family, and then just make the trip on Sunday and come home and have I always call them the tired Mondays, but instead it didn't work out that way. We still have a lot of great ideas on it. That 5,000 to win Sport Mod. If you weren't there last year, you missed a great race. It was pretty amazing. And those Sport Mod drivers, AJ Bowler, he just made a heck of a run and couldn't get to the win. Carl Brewer, just fastest guy the first night, second night blew up. First night, second night couldn't come out, and his backup motor just wasn't there. And we just saw a lot of great cars passing and moving, and man, I can't say enough about it.
Awesome. Before we head out, why don't we go ahead and talk about how to follow Park Jefferson Speedway, Lenny?
Yeah, we got a Facebook. We're on obviously Park Jefferson. Me and Wayne are always posted on it. We like social media, positive social media, we'll say. And then we also have a website, parkjefferson.com, and you can go there. We also, if you're looking to join the partnership program, we don't do sponsors enough. We got too much stuff for everybody to do. You want to bring your business on, we got places for the dinners, the lunches, the campground, the pond, the racing. We got a lot going on, and it's a lot of work. And I got to really say thank you guys for having us on. But Wayne is probably the first guy that's ever taken over Park that actually did what he said he was going to do. When he bought Park from Adam, he said, "I'm going to do this, 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 and this." A lot of us heard that before being in that area. And Wayne sure did take over and do exactly what he said he was going to do, which is amazing. And he has made that facility just what it used to be back in the day when it was a NASCAR track, Park Jefferson back in the day. And, man, it's just a beautiful facility again. We got the pits in the back. If you want a concrete stall, get a hold of me. I got plenty of them left. But we put the pits back in the back. We got campgrounds. I cannot wait for next year, the concerts, the whole works. We're going to have a blast. You guys are going to put on a great show with those stock cars, and I can't wait because everyone loves good racing and loves good family time. So thank you for having us on here, by the way.
Thank you, Lenny. It's really exciting, like you said. Park Jefferson back in the NASCAR days. Remember the Kaziskis and Swobodas and some of those guys running around with the Busch All-Star Tour up there, and it's going to be exciting to go back to Park Jefferson and have close racing again with the reconfiguration of the track. So it should be a really good time coming up there.
Yeah, I can't wait for it, guys. We'll see you then, and thank you guys so much again for having us on there. But man, when you guys bring that stock car show, whew, man, it's gonna be a great show. That's one on my calendar I got circled. The rest will probably call in sick for. That one I won't.
All right, that's Lenny Tucker with Park Jefferson Speedway. That is going to wrap up all of our interviews for tonight. We'll move right into our Tailored Computers and Repair quick time headlines. And our first headline is going to be about the Winter Nationals, which is kicking off at Kokopah Speedway. Actually, tonight, they actually were live on Facebook. I was watching as I was getting the final prep for tonight's show done. How about 237 cars for just today's races, guys? I cannot believe it's January 4th, and we're already racing for the year.
It's super exciting to see that, though, and car counts abundant there down in Kokopah. And, there's guys from all over down there, or whether it's east, west, north, south, wherever they came. Jerry Van Sickle's on the flag stand last night. The whole IMCA TV crew is there. I don't think you can find a better show, a better way to start the year off when it comes to IMCA racing. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. I'd love to see kind of that lineup, go to My Race Pass and see who's all there. I can't wait to see how many locals went down there, but it's a good mix of guys, and I can't believe there's 237. That's pretty awesome. Pretty great way to start the year. I think racing is going to have a big year. Just not because of these numbers. It just feels like it this year, don't it? It just feels like this year could be an awesome year all the way around, and obviously that's amazing. It's going to kick off really great down there.
Well, especially in our area, it seems like a lot of racetracks are investing in bigger paying shows to really get the cars and the people in. So I think that's going to make a big impact here, gradually getting more people interested in some of these racetracks in the areas. And Kokopah, that's always been kind of a mainstay track in the state of Arizona. And it seems like guys from all over the place travel out there. I think actually Cameron Meyer from up in the Pierce Norfolk area, he's racing down there this week. So good luck to him and any other Nebraska or Midwest guys heading on out west. Of course, a big meeting coming up here the next few weeks, the Racers Winter Swap Meet. You guys are essentially the promoters of this swap meet and trade show now. Talk about the upcoming boot space, hotels, all that great stuff for Egg Park in Columbus here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I believe it's the 40th year now for the Racers Winter Swap Meet in Columbus, and a couple years ago, Rob and I were, I guess, graciously asked to take over, and it's been a good fit for us and what we're doing, and we've been challenged a little bit this year. We've been challenged every year, I feel like, with the front room and the back room, the heating, no heat kind of deal. And so we'll see what this year brings. We're actually moving buildings, not because of the heat issue or anything like that, but because the new gambling regulations in Nebraska, that building has been basically off limits due to a casino coming in and putting a stranglehold on that building. To my knowledge, yet there's no slot machines or any games going on in there, so I can't promise anybody any late night fun after the swap meet or anything like that. But we're going to be in a building. It's 36,000 square feet. It's got great overhead doors, great heat. It appear. One downfall is it will be a dirt floor. But what really sold me is they tell me that they have weddings in there. So if a bride can walk on the dirt floor with her dress, I feel that us dirt racers can spend a little bit of time on that same dirt. So they've been really great to work with. Just looking through the list of some of the people that are coming, we mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but the calls keep coming in, the messages keep coming in. So make sure your Racers Winter Swap Meet, either messaging us through the Facebook page, emailing us at anydirtcrown at yahoo.com, or giving us a phone call so we can get you in there. Sleep in again. They've stepped up with a Racers Winter Swap Meet room rate. So call those folks at the Sleep In Columbus, and they can help you. I just mentioned Racers Winter Swap Meet. We mentioned Racers Winter Swap Meet, the hotels, but that Friday, Rob, we're going to throw in a mix of something else that we can do.
I think it's going to be a great time with our first annual or inaugural year-end banquet. We're going to recognize the top 25 in points. So if you're one of our top 25, we'll be reaching out to you here any day. You're invited to that, but it's not just for the top 25. We want to make it a celebration for racers of any class or anybody associated with the swap meet. Anybody, any fan, anybody's invited. Just let us know if you want to eat or not. But still, you can still show up, and we're going to have that upstairs in the original building at Ag Park there. It's going to be a great time. We got good food. I think we've got some good beverages possibly lined up, and it'll just be a great time to recognize our drivers and to have a great time together talking about racing and kicking the year off. Everybody always does show up to the swap meet the night before to go out and have a great time and to catch up. But I think what we're doing here is we're inviting them to our banquet to do it right there together. I think we could have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know that people so much come to the swap meet. I mean, the first couple hours they come to find the deals or the latest and the greatest, but it's almost like guys put that on their schedule. They circle that date because it's an opportunity for them to get together with their fellow racers and talk with the racetracks and talk with some of the sponsors and the vendors and things like that. It's just a really good time to come together throughout the winter, and it breaks it up a little bit before everybody gets back in gear of either building their cars or racing their cars.
100%. That's why I go drink a few beers at 8 in the morning and talk about racing. That's a good mix right there.
Yeah,
well, there's a lot this year, so we'll have a great time that night before also there. So if you can make it, come the night before. If you're one of our top 25, you're going to get recognized. Maybe take some hardware home. You meant a lot to us this year with our racing, and what a great way to start. Next year, we got 2 divisions, so let's see. This will kind of be our kickoff, and who knows what next year will bring already. I guess 1 year at a time, but so everyone's invited to the banquet, though. We got to let everybody know that. Like it said on there, RSVP to us if you want a meal. Otherwise, just show up and have a great time with us.
More the merrier, right, Rob?
Why not? We're all in it together.
Absolutely. One final thing I forgot. I did not have. I had some computer issues tonight. And by the way, that's a quick shameless plug to Taylor Computers and Repair. Dan Taylor watching tonight, and he's been commenting. He was working overtime helping me get my computer going tonight. If you want the best tech support and best workaround for a computer, talk to Dan at Taylor Computers and Repair. He'll get you set up any way possible, whether it's a new computer or fixing your old one. Big thank you to him for sponsoring our QuickTime headlines. If you want to maybe talk about I-80, officially the auction is coming up for all of their materials out at the racetrack. I thought we'd maybe just mention it quickly. The auction starts on Monday, January 9th, and bidding ends, I think, Monday, January 16th. So pretty much everything that has to do with the racetrack is being auctioned off. And here's all the info. If you're a racetrack out there or someone who's interested in some of the memorabilia or pieces out there at the racetrack, head on over to the I-80 Speedway page to follow how you can go ahead and bid on those items. Still really sad to see this officially coming to an end for I-80 now.
Yeah, it is. One of the things when talking with Steve and Joe, you can go in there into the auction site, and I think there's 5 different rings that they're running. The Steffi's group is taking care of all that. But you can go in there and you can actually set the amount of money that you're willing to spend on a particular item. And the way I understood it is it'll keep bidding you up if somebody's going to outbid you until your limit is met. So if there's something you're interested in, I mean it's anything and everything. There's jersey barriers there, the awesome scoreboard they had, the grandstands. There's toters if you want a toter. Some of the racetracks out there. One of the things that I know, Ryan, you didn't get to experience this yet. A couple years you will. Rob, you've experienced it, and I've got to experience it. When you take your kids to a racetrack, they like to watch the races for a little bit. But one of the great things that I-80 did is they had a playground back there, and they did some really cool renovations several years back. And
I literally
all
was
that
just
stuff.
thinking about that maybe I just
Yeah.
need to bid on that, and I just take up the whole backyard with a fake football field so I don't have to mow, and go ahead and grab some of the playground equipment for the future. I don't know if the wife would be 100% on board with that just yet, but that might be a good future investment.
Hey, if the price is right, why not, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. But go ahead and head on over there to bid. Obviously the maintainer, grandstand area, so on and so forth. But just wanted to kind of forward that off. That's pretty much going to wrap things up. Rob, Scott, you guys got anything else for tonight?
I just want to thank again everybody for tuning in with us and all the support we've gotten throughout the years here. I know that we've had some bouts with Mother Nature and COVID and things like that. Again, we've had great people stick behind us. So looking for exciting 2023 and stock car racing, and who knows what else we may have coming here in 2023 is all I'm going to say there, right, Rob?
I think you're right. I won't give out too much, but probably the next few episodes we're gonna talk to more of our track promoters. We want to know who they are, so stay tuned. If you got a track or you want to put a name and a face together, we're going to be talking every other week to them. I think we got some ideas on some sponsorships we might start rolling out. We might go over some of our procedures here in a month or so too. So a lot of info coming from us at Dirt Crown, and just keep watching. We're going to have a great time this year.
Again, we got to thank Jay Burdick, Dirt Track Bank, Malvern Bank.
Yes.
Jay, all your great support. A big thank you to you and the support that you've given the 360 sprint cars. So 360 sprint cars, folks, they're not dead in the Midwest. I know several people want to say that maybe they're on life support, but Jay and Joe and those guys, there's still going to be some races for the 360 cars. So like Drew mentioned, there's 360 racing in Belleville on the big track.
Stewart,
thank you, Jay
they're going to
Burdick.
Stewart. That is going to be an awesome show, by the way.
Yeah, Stewart is going to be awesome. Harlan, I think they're going to have a couple shows there. I know that there's one maybe in the works that a lot of people will be really, really excited for. I won't spill the beans on that one yet, but it's going to be a really cool event coming up for the 360 Malvern Bank sprint cars that you definitely will circle on your schedule. So maybe next time we can get some of the folks behind that on with us and talk about how cool that event's going to be.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Absolutely. So, yeah, like Rob said, we're going to be taking next week off. But then in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking with more of our promoters that we're going to be following throughout the year with the Stock Car Crown Summer Series. We'll probably have on average, 2 to 3 promoters per episode with the amount of racetracks we've got to get through before March. So it's going to be a pretty busy next few episodes as we continue to feature all of our great promoters and racetracks out there. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in to tonight's coverage of Inside Line, presented to you by Dirt Track Bank and, of course, Malvern Bank as well. And hope everyone has a great rest of your first week of January of 2023. And we'll see everyone in the coming weeks. So let's see, 2 weeks from today, we'll be back on here with Inside Line. For Rob and Scott, I'm Ryan saying so long. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening.